We are here on the state's petition to establish the parent-child relationship, and we have reached an agreement on some of the issues before the court. Specifically, we have agreed that Mr. Hernandez Macias will pay child support of $217 per month beginning June 1st, 2025, based on the minimum wage presumption for one child before the court and no others. We've also agreed that he will pay cash medical support of $75 per month, also beginning June 1st, 2025, with Ms. Garcia applying for CHIP or Medicaid for the child. And there has been a report of genetic testing. Mr. Hernandez Macias is the father of the child. That's been filed with the court. Parties have agreed to establish the parent-child relationship. We do not have an agreement on the remaining issues, specifically conservatorship, possession and access, and the finding of non-disclosure.
All right, folks. Thank you very much, Ms. Herkey. Ms. Mackin?
Your Honor, everything Ms. Herkey represented to the court is correct. And today we're just asking that Mr. Hernandez have possession and access for over 100 miles. He is able to exercise the first, third, and fifth weekend, that the meeting point of the parties be at a halfway location between the two parties, and that the holiday possession schedule just be in accordance with the standard possession order.
All right, he's asking for the full first, third, and fifth weekends for a person over 100 miles away. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, then. All right, thank you very much. All right, Ms. Garcia, again, I don't let the parties make opening statements. Pro se litigants make opening statements, but at the end, you'll be able to make a closing argument. But here's the deal, ma'am. Under the Texas law, I'm supposed to name you both joint management conservators. It appears that the father, Mr. Hernandez, is not asking for custody, so the custody would go to you under those circumstances. However, under the state law, he's entitled to have a standard possession order. I want to get some testimony on to see what y'all's relationship's been as far as the child is concerned, and the court will rule on all aspects of the request made by Ms. Matkins. But again, ma'am, if you're asking for something other than the standard possession order, and we'll get some testimony of the age of the child, so forth and so on, and that could be somewhat of a factor. But he's entitled to have court order visitation, ma'am. I'm going to set it up, but I will need to get some history from both of y'all as far as what the relationship with the child has been so far, how much time he's had with the child, so forth and so on. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and let the state call you as witnesses, and I'm going to get you sworn in, and we're going to take it from there. And then, of course, Ms. Matkin will have the opportunity to cross-examine. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and have Mr. Hernandez and Ms. Garcia, please unmute yourselves and raise your right hands. All right. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give this court today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Both of you are now officially under oath, and I'm going to let the state call you as witnesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state will call Maria Garcia.
All right, ma'am, please state your full name for the record.
Maria Nadina Garcia.
All right, thank you very much. You may proceed, Ms. Herkey.
Thank you. Ms. Garcia, what is the name of the child before the court today?
Delilah Nicole Hernandez Garcia.
And what is her date of birth?
1/21/22.
Who does she live with?
Me and her siblings.
And how long has she lived with you?
Since birth.
Did you and Mr. Hernandez Macias live together for any length of time after Delilah was born?
Yes.
When did you stop living together?
I believe we moved in, I'm not sure of the exact date. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Does Mr. Hernandez Macias visit with the child?
He hasn't seen her because of his probation conditions.
When was the last time that he visited with her?
In June, from last year, I believe.
And prior to June of last year, how often did he visit with Delilah?
He would have most weekends with her.
Why did you change the schedule?
We had a disagreement on the weekend that he had asked me to visit with her, and I said no, but he forced the issue. And after that, he had went to jail and didn't see her anymore.
Why did he go to jail?
like I said, he forced the issue of going to get my daughter after I said no. And he broke in the house and
He bro-
forced her to leave.
He broke in the house where you were staying.
Yes.
And were there criminal charges that resulted as part of that incident?
I guess so, yes.
Okay. And so he hasn't visited with Delilah since that happened.
Yes.
Do you have any concerns about Mr. Hernandez Macias visiting with Delilah going forward?
No, I don't. I just want him to bring her back. That's the only concern I have.
Why do you worry about that?
Because before the incident, he would always tell me that he wouldn't bring her back, that she wasn't coming back to her mother, and that's the main thing that I wouldn't want to happen.
Does Mr. Hernandez Macias know where you live?
No.
Do you have any concerns about him knowing your address?
Yes.
What are your concerns?
Harassment, making problematic issues.
Have you ever obtained a protective order against him?
I had one while he was in jail. I had the emergency protective order. I tried making a longer one, but they said that our case wasn't strong enough for it, so they didn't extend it.
So that protective order is expired.
Yes.
All right, ma'am, do you still have a copy of that protective order?
I should, yes.
All right, thank you. I may be needing to see a review or copy of it. Thank you. You may proceed, Ms. Erkey.
Ms. Garcia, has there ever been any family violence between you and Mr. Hernandez Macias?
Like in general or with that incident?
When did that incident take place?
I believe in June when that happened.
Was there family violence as a result of that incident?
No,
Has there been family violence prior to that?
prior, but not in the incident.
Okay. What kind of things went on between you and Mr. Hernandez Macias?
Like in general in our living situation,
As far as family violence?
it was just a lot of fighting, arguments, and it was just a lot of disagreements that led to hands and stuff like that.
So there was physical violence?
Yeah.
Did you receive any injuries as a result of the physical violence?
No,
Did you ever call police?
I was too scared.
Where would you, if the court orders that you and Mr. Hernandez Macias exchange the child at a neutral location, where would you like to exchange the child?
And wake up.
Do you feel like that's halfway between your current residence and where Mr. Hernandez Macias lives?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions. I'll pass the witness.
All right, ma'am, are you still a resident of Comanche County?
No, sir.
Which county you live in now?
Williamson.
All right, thank you. And how long have you lived in Williamson?
For about I'm so sorry, for about like 6 months already.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Mackin, you're a witness.
Ms. Garcia, you remember me, don't you? I can't hear you, you muted.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Okay. And in fact, when this incident occurred, Mr. Hernandez didn't just come to your house and break in. Y'all had an agreement that he came to meet you at your home, correct?
That day?
Correct.
No, we didn't have an agreement. He told me that he was picking up Delilah and I told him no. And he said that he was coming regardless.
Ms. Garcia, you were allowing Mr. Hernandez to pick up Delilah almost on a week on, week off basis or exclusively every weekend, correct?
Yes.
Okay, But when you got upset, then you would revoke that offer and say he can't do that anymore, correct?
I didn't get upset. I wasn't upset that day. He forced the issue when I said no.
Okay. So because it wasn't on your terms, then you revoked your agreement, correct?
What do you mean?
If Mr. Hernandez didn't pick up and drop off on your terms, then you would revoke the agreement, correct?
No.
He would come to your house on a regular basis? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. The same day he came to your house, in fact, you opened the door,
The day that he came for Delilah? No, he
correct?
forced himself in it.
Okay.
I had my doors locked.
He didn't break open the door. The door was open when he came there.
It wasn't open, it was locked.
Okay.
I was literally at the door with it locked.
Okay. But you also came to my office and you wanted to sign an affidavit of non-prosecution, correct?
Yes, because his family kept pressuring me about it.
You came here willingly and voluntarily and you called my office several times, correct?
Because his family kept telling me if I could do it.
Okay. They didn't drive you up here. They didn't hold a gun to your head. They didn't do any of that, did
didn't.
they? You
No.
drove yourself up here.
Yes, ma'am.
You also visited Mr. Hernandez in jail and you continue to visit him in jail. Isn't that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you asked me on several occasions on why Mr. Hernandez would call you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And I advised you that I have instructed Mr. Hernandez that he is not to call you and have any contact with you, correct?
Yes.
Instead, then you went up to the jail and you continue to go up to the jail on a regular basis.
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't want him prosecuted for anything that occurred.
No.
Okay. So there should be no issues with Mr. Hernandez being able to see his child every first, third, and fifth weekend of the month. Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you'd be willing to meet him in McLennan County at the police department there, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And he should be able to pick up Delilah and have her for the weekend from Friday at 6 to Sundays at 6.
Yes, ma'am.
And over the summer for 42 days,
Yes, ma'am.
every other holiday,
Yes, ma'am.
every spring break as required by the code.
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand Mr. Hernandez doesn't necessarily care what your particular address is. We just care what county you reside in, correct?
That's fine.
Okay. And because this case is in Comanche, we're asking that you have a geographic restriction within 100 miles of Comanche County. Do you understand that?
What does that mean?
That means that you can't
I
move.
think that ship is sailed, Ms. Mackins.
Okay, or then we ask that you're within Williamson County, any county that touching Williamson. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Okay, and you're okay with that?
No, but if it has to be through the court, that's fine.
Okay. At least in no event would you be able to leave Texas. Do you understand that?
Can you repeat that one more time?
That in no event would you be able to leave Texas.
That's fine.
And if you do move from the current county that you reside in, then you would be required to, on pickup from the child, you'd be required to drive all the way to Mr. Hernandez's residence. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, anything on redirect, Ms. Herkey?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then call your next witness, please.
Yes, the state will call Guillermo Hernandez Macias.
All right.
Yes.
All right, sir, state your full name for the record, sir.
Guillermo Hernandez Macias.
All right, thank you very much. You may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez Macias, did you and Ms. Garcia live together for any length of time after Delilah was born?
Yes, we did. We lived together for 2 years.
And after you separated, how often were you visiting the child?
After what? I'm sorry, cut off.
After you and Ms. Garcia stopped living together?
It will be every weekend, and also I will go to her house.
Did the schedule change at some point?
Not really. Well, no, not really, till she had that disagreement.
Have you visited with the child since your disagreement?
No, ma'am, I can't. I have a restriction because of my probation.
What are you on probation for?
Accused me of burglary of habitation.
Were you convicted of that?
Yes, I was.
As a felony?
Yes.
And so what does the terms of your probation for that charge dictate as far as you being around your child?
That's pretty much it. Well, of course, I got community service hours. I had to do an extra 3 weekends in jail, but I already completed that. Also, I can't be around my child and Maria Garcia.
And how long have you been on probation?
Since February.
Which county, sir?
Comanche County.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hernandez Macias, what do you want the court to order as far as visitation between you and Delilah?
I just want her the first, the third, and the fifth week. That's pretty much it. And of course, I mean, like the summer and pretty much what we agreed, what me and my attorney agreed on.
Has CPS ever been involved with Delilah?
Yes, while I caught the charge.
Okay. Is the CPS case still open?
I don't know, because what they were accusing me of was not true, so I did not sign anything. So
No further questions. I'll pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, you were charged with burglary of a habitation or burglary of a building? I'm sorry, I didn't misunderstand.
of habitation, sir.
And whose habitation?
Maria's mother.
All right, I'm gonna need to see, Ms. Matkin, I'm gonna need to see a copy of those terms and conditions, okay? I'm gonna need to see a copy of her protective order and his terms and conditions, so, but keep
Just-
going. Sorry, he's your witness. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Hernandez, there was a protective order in place at the very beginning of the case about a year ago, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That protective order has since expired. It was only a 60-day protective order, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it is no longer in place.
Yeah, it was 90 days, but yeah, it's no
Oh,
longer.
sorry, 90 days.
Yes.
And I represented you on that case, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, we did have a hearing on your probation, I believe. Was your probation deferred in this case?
Yes.
Okay, so you do not have a conviction.
No.
Additionally, a term of your probation is that you were not to be around Maria or the child. However, at that hearing, did we address with Judge Carpenter that condition in regards to Delilah?
Yes, we did.
And did at that hearing, Judge Carpenter rule that if there were a custody order in place, that the terms of the custody order would control?
Yes, he did admit that if they accepted me seeing my child, he had no problem taking it away.
And he actually instructed probation at the hearing to make sure that they complied with the terms of any order that Mr. Nelson would put into place, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So we're just asking the court now that those terms and conditions be abided by, that the Comanche County probation would abide by the terms that Mr. Nelson would put in place, or Judge Nelson would put in place, and that Judge Nelson would allow you possession and access on the first, third, and fifth weekend of the month for Delilah, correct?
Correct.
And that you would get 42 days in the summer with Delilah,
Yes.
and you would get every other Thanksgiving, and you would rotate half of Christmas. You'd get, in even years, you'd get the first half of Christmas, and odd years, you would get the second half of Christmas break. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're also asking that you get every spring break, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're asking that Mrs. Garcia be restricted to Williamson County or touching Williamson County, correct?
Yes.
And that in no event could Mrs. Garcia leave the state of Texas.
Yes.
If she were to moved from Williamson County, then you would ask that she would have to be ordered to pick up the child from your residence, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but for right now, you are on board and you're okay with meeting in McLennan County at like the Waco Police Department, correct?
Yes, I am.
You're also asking the court to order app close so that you communicate in regards to pick up and drop off solely of the child
Yes.
or any issues that may arise with the child, correct?
Correct.
Are you also asking that the court order some type of electronic communication
Mhm.
so
Yes.
that way you can talk to Delilah during the week, say 3 days out of the week at a specific time?
Yes.
Would 7 p.m. work for you?
Mr. Matkins, at best, I'll usually do 2, but if he's doing his standard visitation, I usually only do the weekends. The Sundays he doesn't have visitation. So again, doing 3 times during the week is kind of a burdensome circumstance, especially if he's doing his visitation. So, but go ahead. I'll go ahead and let you ask him what he wants to try to do, and I'll make a decision on it. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. So you're just asking, for instance, like on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, that you be able to talk to Delilah at 7 p.m.
Yes, that'll be fine.
And you're also willing to allow Mrs. Garcia to talk to Delilah while she's in your possession via FaceTime, correct?
Yes.
And you understand that you would pick up and drop off Delilah at the required times, which is Friday at 6 p.m. and Sunday at 6 p.m., correct?
Correct.
You have no intentions of withholding Delilah from her mother.
No, I don't.
And in fact, you wouldn't do anything of that nature because it would probably violate your conditions of probation, correct?
Correct.
And you're not wanting to go to the Texas Penitentiary, are you?
No.
Okay. You also understand that you will have no contact with Maria, correct?
Correct.
And that you will not show up at her residence.
Correct.
Can you tell us where you are living, your address, please?
1807 Ramsey Avenue, Dallas, Texas, 75216.
You said Dallas, correct?
Yes.
And do you have a place for Delilah to stay when she's with you?
Yes, she has her room.
And you're able and willing to take care of her while you have her in your possession, correct?
Yes, correct.
Is there anything else that you would want the court to hear?
No, I just hope that we just have an agreement because I'm tired of the arguments. I'm tired of not being able to see my child. You know, she has her father, so that's pretty much it.
Okay, so you just want the court to make a ruling today allowing you to have the first, third, and fifth weekend so you can see Delilah on a regular basis, correct?
Correct.
And just be part of her life.
Yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Herky, anything on redirect?
No, Your Honor. State rest.
All right. Ms. Mackin, there are no other witnesses on your behalf that you wish to call at this time, correct, Ms. Matkins?
I rest, Your Honor, yes.
All right, Ms. Garcia, I'm going to allow you to make, we heard your testimony, and I'm going to allow you to make a closing statement. I'm going to let everybody know I'm not going to be able to do a ruling today. I'm going to need to see a copy of his terms and conditions of his probation, and I'm going to need to see a copy of the protective order and see what the findings are in that protective order, because that may limit what I can, the type of conservatorship I can or in this matter based on a protective order filed by a Texas magistrate in a case. So, you know, it does control. So I need to see a copy of that. Ms. Matkins, do you have a copy of that protective, that 90-day protective order?
I am checking my file, Your Honor, to see if I have a copy of that. Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, then, great, because I prefer, that makes it easier to find. So if you can give me a copy of that protective order and a copy of his terms and conditions of his probation, then I can see what kind of order I can I have to work around as far as those circumstances are concerned.
Yes, Your Honor. And
yes,
sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you. The other thing I can do as well is if you make a ruling in the family case, I can also modify the probation condition in regards just to Delilah.
okay. All right.
Without an issue, as I've addressed that with Judge Carpenter.
All right then. But again, like I said, I need to see a copy of that and a copy of the protective order, and that way I could I won't I'm not going to tweak it too much based on that. But again, obviously, I still got to deal with the protective order part of it to determine whether or not they can be joints, or mom's got to be sold and he has to be possessory, and then I've got to do what I have to do on those under that. But this time, I'm looking at giving it again. They are in agreement with most of this. So I'm in agreement with going ahead and granting it, but I got to make sure I actually can, and what kind of conservatorship I've got on this matter. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Ms. Garcia make a closing statement if she wishes, and then I'm gonna move to the lawyers. Anything else then at this point, Ms. Mackin, before you close it?
No, Your Honor, I can make it in closing.
All right then. All right, Ms. Garcia, is there anything else you wish to tell me at this time, ma'am, as a closing statement or a closing argument, ma'am, since you're your own rep?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then, Ms. Mackin, then you're up next, and then the state. Thank you.
Your Honor, we understand that you may have to make a finding of sole managing conservatorship. Even in the event that you do, we just ask that there be a geographic restriction on Mrs. Garcia, as the code does allow for that, making that either Williamson County and any adjacent county, and in no event leaving the state of Texas. Also, we ask that you grant Mr. Hernandez the first, third, and fifth week in possession to where the parties meet in McLennan County at the Waco PD. We grant the standard possession order on holidays, spring break, and summer. I believe that's all the findings that or the orders that we're asking the court to make today, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much. Ms. Herkey.
Yes, Your Honor, the state would ask that the court establish the parent-child relationship, set child support at $217 per month and medical support at $75 per month per the parties' agreement. Your Honor, I'd ask the court to make appropriate rulings regarding conservatorship and visitation for the child. And finally, Your Honor, I'd ask the court to make a decision on the state's request for non-disclosure of Ms. Garcia's address. That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm sorry. Something was gnawing at me. I thought that Mr. Hernandez was in Comanche County, but he's in Dallas County at this time?
Yes, that's where he's been residing. I believe the parties resided in Dallas County at some point together, if I'm not mistaken. And then Mrs. Garcia moved to Comanche County.
All right, then. All right, then. And he's only making minimum wage in Dallas, Texas? That's the court finds that highly unlikely. So again, so what's that circumstance, Ms. Mackins, if you know? So again,
from my understanding, he's a cook and bussing tables at a restaurant. So it's not.
Okay, well, restaurants in Belton, Texas now pay $10, $15 an hour. So let's get him back on the record and let me get that testimony, please. Thank you. Mr. Hernandez, I'm putting you back. We're still under oath. You're back on the record again. I thought you were in Comanche County. I know smaller counties still do the minimum wage presumption, but the minimum wage, but larger counties do not. So I wanted under oath what you're doing and how much you're earning at this time, sir. So
Okay.
I'll let Ms. Erkey call you as that witness and reopen the evidence for that. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Hernandez Macias, where do you work right now?
It's called Bowl and Barrel at North Park.
Can you say that one more time?
Bowl and Barrel.
And what do you do for them?
I'm a cook.
How much do you earn per hour?
I earn 15 an hour, but I work about 20, maybe sometimes. In a good week, I'll probably make 30 hours.
Do you work between 20 and 30 hours per week?
Sometimes even less. Sometimes I could work 13 hours, sometimes 15 hours. And also, I've been working a lot on my community service, all the things that I gotta take care of with my probation. So I have a lot of payments for probation. I do probably like $300 a month for probation, probably more sometimes.
Do you have any source of income other than your job?
No, ma'am, not at the moment.
Do you have any other children in addition to Delilah?
No, ma'am.
No further questions. I'll pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Mackins, your witness.
Mr. Hernandez,
Yes, ma'am.
just so the court can understand, you are working at like a restaurant setting, correct?
Yes.
In Dallas.
Yes.
Your parents are also helping provide a home for you, correct?
Yes, ma'am. And they also have a room ready for my daughter.
Okay. And the job that you're currently working, it pays $15 an hour, but when we discussed, you're averaging somewhere between 15 to 20 hours a week, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the reason for that is sometimes you can work more, sometimes you can't, or sometimes the hours aren't available, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're fine with the court calculating the child support at $15 an hour on an average of between 15 to 20 weeks, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so you're bringing home about, or not really, before taxes, your income or your gross income is about $1,500 a month?
A month, probably even less, maybe like 12.
$1,200 a month? And no,
Yes.
correct? And that's what it's been on average for the last 2 months or so since you
Yes.
started working there?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all the questions I have, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Hernandez, you say you've been there 2 months?
Yes. Yes, sir. I got out of jail and I've been getting my life straight. That's the first thing I did.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Anything else this witness at this time, Ms. Durkee?
No, Your Honor.
All right, folks, again, I'm looking at doing a ruling on this one, but I do need that data as far as Mr. Hernandez is concerned with the terms and conditions of probation and the protective order. Let's see. I don't want I to make sure these things don't drop through the cracks, because again, when I got so many dockets, so many counties, that's easy enough. I actually have a docket this Friday. That's the San Saba docket, but I'm going to move this Zoom code over to on that same date, and at 10 a.m. I'm going to I'll tell you what. No, that starts at 9:30. So at 10:30 a.m. on Friday, I'm going to log in at that time and make my ruling. Y'all can be here. Y'all can. I'll make sure y'all get a copy of the ruling one way or the other. I just want to make sure I don't forget and not make a ruling. So, Ms. Mackey, if you can make sure Ms. Erkey gets a copy of that, and Ms. Erkey, you can forward that to Belinda where I can see that. I'm going to go ahead and reset you guys until Friday the 16th at 10:30. Justin, for the media on the record, make a ruling as far as what I'm going to do on these circumstances. And of course, y'all can be there for that ruling. Ms. Garcia can be there for that ruling. But again, I always make these placeholders because yeah, when you cover 5 counties, you got to do it this way. So yeah, it goes. Some days, I've actually gone to Comanche a week early one time because I got my dates mixed up. So yeah, that's what happens when you have to go back. But luckily, that's been 10 years ago, so I haven't made that mistake again. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and move that over to them and make my rulings. And like I said, if you can get that over to her sometime in the next 48, and you get that to Belinda, I'll have a chance to go over all this.
Yes, Judge, let me ask you.
Anything else? Any questions, Ms. Matkins?
Yes. So the copy of the EPO, correct, and then the probation, correct?
Correct.
And then I can get, would you mind if I get anything from probation that states that that condition is amended upon your ruling?
Sure.
Okay.
That's fine. I'm taking your word for that's the case, but yeah, you go and get something in writing, and you can wear belts and suspenders. Okay, got it.
Thank you, Judge.
All right then. All right. Anything else, Ms. Erkey?
No, Your Honor.
All right, guys. Like I say, give me that information, and I'll do what I have to do in conformity with the Texas Family Code, and I'll make those rulings on this coming Friday at 10:30. Thank you very much, and y'all. It's the same Zoom code, Ms. Garcia. So if you want to attend, you can just log in. Same thing, Ms. Mackey. Same thing, Ms. Erkey. And Mr. Hernandez. Thank you.
Sure.
Right.
Thank
Everybody,
you.
we need to go, and we got to pop over to our other hearing, right, Ms. Erkey? I'll be there in a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, and we're off the record.
Thank you, Judge.